The galaxy had always thought it understood danger. Empires had risen and fallen, fleets had clashed, and countless worlds had burned. But none of them ever imagined that the true warning would come too late, and that warning was about the humans. It started far away, at the edge of known space. A small patrol fleet from the Drivak Empire was scanning a quiet sector when their sensors caught something strange. A single vessel, massive in size, was moving without any identification codes. It was not like any ship they had seen before. It looked old, yet new. Its armor reflected light like black stone, and strange marks covered its hull. The Drivak commander frowned. He had never seen a design like this in any database. The ship moved slow, but steady, as if it did not care who was watching. The Drivak thought it might be an abandoned relic, or maybe some pirate trick. They moved closer, weapons armed. That was when the strange vessel sent out a signal. The sound was deep, almost like thunder, but when translated, the words were simple: human vessel detected. Do not interfere. The crew looked at each other in confusion. Human. That word was almost forgotten in the galaxy. Long ago, there had been whispers of a species that grew too fast, fought too hard, and disappeared into the dark. Most thought they were only a myth, a ghost story told to frighten cadets. But now, here was a ship, claiming that word as truth. The commander laughed at first. He thought it was a trick. Humans are dead. They never survived. They never spread beyond their star, he said. But as the ship turned, the crew felt uneasy. The vessel was huge, but there were no visible weapons. Yet, their scanners could not pierce its hull. No energy reading, no engine signature, nothing. It was like scanning a shadow. The Drivak ships surrounded it, still thinking they could force it to surrender. They fired a warning shot, a bright lance of plasma that struck the human vessel. Everyone expected the metal to melt or the ship to break apart. Instead, the beam vanished, swallowed whole by the black armor. No sound, no damage, nothing. The human ship did not even slow down. It just kept moving forward. Fear spread through the patrol. Ships that were used to crushing rebels and pirates suddenly felt small. The commander shouted orders to fire again. This time, the entire fleet opened fire. Plasma, missiles, railguns, all filled the space with burning light. When the fire cleared, the human vessel was still there, untouched, silent, and steady. Then it spoke again. Final warning. Do not provoke humanity. The words sent a chill into every alien heart. This was not the language of arrogance or pride. It was a warning that felt heavy and final, like the last words before a storm. The Drivak commander panicked. He ordered a retreat, but before his ships could jump away, the human vessel finally moved. A ripple of light spread across its black hull, and in the next moment, every Drivak weapon system shut down. Their engines froze, their power drained, their ships left helpless in space. No explosion, no visible attack. Just silence. The human ship passed through their formation, and as it did, every alien felt something in their mind. A presence. Cold, vast, and ancient. A voice, not through speakers, but directly inside their thoughts. We remember you. We warned you once. Do not test us again. Some of the crew screamed. Others sat frozen, unable to breathe. When the human ship finally jumped into the dark, the alien fleet was left broken, powerless, and afraid. It took them hours to restart their systems. When they finally returned to their empire, they told their leaders what had happened. Most refused to believe. But the data was real. The scans, the recordings, the voice. Something had awakened. Soon, the story spread across the galaxy. At first, rulers laughed. They said the Drivak had been tricked by some secret weapon, or maybe they lost their nerve. But others whispered. They remembered the old warnings. The old stories of a species that never stopped fighting. A species that turned war into art. A species that had vanished, not because they were weak, but because they chose to disappear. And now, they were back. The galaxy tried to comfort itself, to say it was just one ship, just one ghost. But deep down, everyone felt it. Something was moving in the dark, and the message was clear. The humans were not gone. They had only been waiting. And now, they were awake. The galaxy whispered. The story of the Drivak patrol spread faster than fire in dry fields. At first, rulers and commanders tried to hide it, but soldiers spoke, merchants carried rumors, and soon every corner of known space repeated the same tale: a black ship, human-made, untouchable, unstoppable. Some called it madness. Others called it truth. But no one could deny the fear. The Drivak Empire sent more fleets to the sector, hoping to prove their first patrol had been weak. 10 warships, then 20, then 50. None came back with victory. Some returned broken, their hulls torn as if invisible hands had crushed them. Others never returned at all. Each time, the human vessel sent the same words: final warning. Do not provoke humanity. Yet arrogance burned bright in the galaxy. The Drivak Emperor could not accept defeat. To retreat without victory meant weakness, and weakness in the galaxy was death. He gathered allies, promising wealth and glory if they destroyed the human ship. Soon, hundreds of ships from different empires moved toward the dark sector. On the bridge of the Drivak flagship, Admiral Shurak stood with pride. His scales glittered under the lights, and his voice carried sharp confidence. Today, we erase this ghost. We will show the galaxy that Drivak power cannot be challenged. But some of his officers trembled. They had heard the recordings. They had seen the wrecks. And deep in their minds, they knew this was not a simple enemy. Still, orders were orders. The fleet spread across the void, scanning every shadow. Then they saw it, the black ship, waiting, silent, drifting as if asleep. The size of it made even the largest battleships look small. No escort. No fleet. Just one ship. Fire! Admiral Shurak ordered, his voice shaking with both fear and anger. The void lit up as hundreds of weapons unleashed their fury. Plasma burned brighter than suns, missiles streaked like comets, railguns fired with thunder. The space itself seemed to shake under the power of the combined fleets. When the light faded, the human vessel was still there, untouched, silent, not even a scratch. Gasps filled the alien bridges. Officers looked at their screens, their claws shaking. Admiral Shurak's face froze. He could not believe it. Again, he roared. The fleets fired once more, filling the void with destruction. And once more, the human ship ignored it all. Then, without warning, the black vessel finally moved. It glided forward slowly, almost lazily, like a predator that knew its prey could not escape. Then, with a low hum, waves of energy spread out. Alien screens went black. Weapons shut down. Engines froze. Thousands of ships floated helpless, powerless, blind. And then the voice came, not through speakers, but directly into their minds. Cold, heavy, endless. We warned you. Do not provoke humanity. Some aliens screamed. Some begged. Some simply froze, unable to breathe under the crushing weight of the voice. Then the human ship pulsed once, and a line of ships simply vanished. Not destroyed. Not exploded. Vanished. Empty space where fleets had been moments ago. Admiral Shurak fell to his knees. The mighty Drivak fleet, with hundreds of allies, was nothing. They were insects under a giant's shadow. Then, silence. The black ship turned and vanished into the dark, leaving behind shattered fleets and broken minds. The survivors returned, carrying fear with them. Their reports spread quickly, and the galaxy could no longer laugh. The humans were real. They were not weak. They were not gone. They had returned, and they carried power that no empire could match. Across the stars, leaders gathered in secret meetings. In one hall, the rulers of 3 great empires argued. It is only one ship, one said. Perhaps we can study it, copy it. Fool, another spat. One ship destroyed hundreds without effort. Do you think it is their only ship? What if more are hiding? They should not exist at all, the third whispered. The humans vanished long ago. Why now? Why return? No one had answers. Only questions, only fear. On a distant station, a scholar spoke to a crowd of officials. He was old, his fur grey, his eyes sharp. You have all forgotten history. You believed humans were myths. But they were real. Long ago, they fought wars like no other. Entire empires fell before them. They did not lose. They chose to leave. Perhaps they grew tired of war, or perhaps they wished to watch us from the shadows. But make no mistake, they were always there. And now, something has woken them. The hall was silent. The scholar's words felt heavy. Some wanted to deny, but deep inside, they knew he was right. Meanwhile, in the dark sector, the human ship was not alone. From the void, other shadows began to move. Ships, huge and silent, one by one, emerging like ancient beasts waking from sleep. Their hulls carried the same black armor, the same strange marks. They did not rush. They did not speak. They simply waited, as if time itself belonged to them. And far away, on hidden worlds, human eyes opened for the first time in centuries. Cities buried beneath mountains lit up again. Old weapons powered with forgotten energy hummed back to life. The humans were stirring, and the galaxy had no idea what storm was coming. Back in the Drivak capital, Emperor Zalvek paced his throne room, his claws cutting into the stone floor. "We must strike first," he hissed. "If they rise, we all fall. Better to burn their nest before they spread." His advisors trembled but agreed. Fear drove their words. Soon, messengers carried orders across the galaxy. Armies would gather, fleets would unite. Humanity would be crushed before it could awaken fully. But none of them understood. None of them realized that they were already too late. Because on the edge of known space, deep inside the black ship, human voices spoke. They remember us now. They think we are few. They think they can stop us. Soft laughter filled the chamber, cold and sharp. Let them come. They will learn the truth. The galaxy had always believed it understood war. But true war had only one name: humanity. The galaxy could no longer deny the truth. The humans had returned. Their black ships moved through the void like shadows, slow but unstoppable. Every fleet that tried to fight them ended the same way: broken, scattered, or gone. In the Drivak capital, Emperor Zalvek raged. His empire had lost thousands of ships. Whole sectors whispered against him. Fear weakened his throne, and fear was worse than any weapon. "Unite them," he ordered his generals. "Promise them safety. Promise them power. They will follow us if they believe we can lead against the humans." So, the Drivak sent messengers to other empires. Some refused. Some mocked. But most, in their hearts, were already afraid. They joined, bringing fleets, soldiers, and weapons. Soon, the galaxy's largest alliance in centuries began to form. But while the empires planned war, humanity was already moving. Far beyond the stars known to aliens, hidden planets awoke. Once, they had been silent graves of metal and stone. Now they burned with light. Vast hangars opened. Ships, black and ancient, rose into the sky. Factories hummed as machines long asleep began to build again. On one of these worlds, a human stood at the edge of a cliff, watching the ships lift into the dark. His name was Commander Kale. His eyes were cold, his face lined with scars, his voice steady as iron. Around him stood officers in dark uniforms, silent, waiting for his word. "They thought we were gone," Kale said. "They believed we forgot. But we remember. Every war. Every betrayal. Every empire that tried to break us. They believe they can destroy us before we rise again. They are wrong." The officers nodded. None smiled. None cheered. Humanity did not treat war as glory. To them, war was survival, and survival was certain. Back in the galaxy's center, the Alliance gathered in a vast war council. Hundreds of leaders sat in a great hall, their voices rising like storms. "We must strike now," one shouted. "No, we must find their worlds," another argued. "You fools," a third roared. "You saw what one ship did. Do you think 1,000 ships will be weaker? We must flee." The hall shook with anger and fear. Some wanted to fight. Some wanted to hide. None could agree. Then, a new voice spoke. Calm. Cold. "You speak as if you have a choice." The hall fell silent. At the center of the chamber stood a figure cloaked in black. Not Drivak. Not from any empire present. The guards raised their weapons, but the figure did not move. "I bring a message," the figure said. Its voice was not its own. It was deeper, heavier, filled with power. The leaders froze as they realized what they were hearing. It was not a spy. It was not a trick. The voice was human. "You think you can plan. You think you can prepare. You cannot. We see you. We hear you. Your fleets, your weapons, your worlds, we know them all. We are not rising. We are already here." The figure collapsed, lifeless, its body burned from the inside. The human voice faded, but the terror remained. The leaders sat in silence. Some trembled. Some stared into the dark. None spoke for a long time. Meanwhile, in space, the black ships moved. They did not conquer worlds. They did not burn cities. They simply passed through, unstoppable, like shadows of doom. On planets below, people watched the skies and whispered. Children cried. Soldiers refused to fight. Armies broke before a single shot was fired. The galaxy began to realize the truth. Humanity did not need to fight them. Humanity only needed to remind them of fear. But not everyone broke. Some still believed victory was possible. On the far rim, Admiral Shurak, the same who once led fleets against the humans, gathered what remained of his pride. His body was weak from fear, his mind scarred by the human voice, but his hatred burned bright. "They think themselves gods," Shurak spat to his crew. "But gods can bleed. We only need to find how." He turned to scientists, desperate minds who studied the wrecks of battles where human ships had passed. They found nothing. No debris, no clues. But Shurak forced them on. Finally, one scientist whispered a possibility. Perhaps they used technology not of this galaxy. Something older. Something outside. Shurak's eyes widened. "Then we find the outside." The search began. Secret expeditions moved into dark space, chasing old myths of gateways and hidden paths. Most ships never returned. Those that did came back empty. But Shurak did not stop. He was certain. Somewhere, there was a key. Somewhere, humanity had a weakness. While he searched, the humans moved with purpose. On hidden worlds, children were trained, not to fear, but to fight. On black ships, weapons hummed, not yet used. Humanity was preparing. Not for defense. For war. One night, on the Drivak capital world, the sky itself seemed to shatter. A human ship appeared in orbit, without warning, without signal. Alarms screamed. Armies rushed. The Emperor himself looked to the heavens in horror. The black ship did not fire. Instead, it spoke. The voice echoed across the planet, through every screen, every speaker, every mind. "You were warned." Then light filled the sky. The black ship vanished, leaving behind no destruction, only silence. But when the people looked, they saw that every weapon on their world was gone. Every cannon, every missile, every defense system. All stolen, all erased. The Drivak Emperor fell to his knees. His empire was defenseless. His power was gone. And across the galaxy, other worlds began to fall silent too. Not from bombs. Not from fire. But from the simple truth that humanity could take everything without firing a shot. In secret, the smaller empires began to whisper. Perhaps it is better to serve them than to fight them. Some sent hidden messages into the void, begging the humans for mercy, for alliance. But humanity did not answer. Because humanity was not looking for servants. Humanity was looking for judgment. Commander Kale stood once more on his hidden world, staring into the stars. Around him, fleets of black ships prepared to move. His officers waited. "They fear us already," Kale said. "But fear is not enough. They must learn never to provoke us again. Only one thing can teach them." His officers nodded. None asked what he meant. They already knew. War. The galaxy was breaking apart under fear. Empires that once stood proud now trembled. Armies refused to march. Fleets hesitated to fight. The humans had not destroyed cities, had not burned worlds, yet they had done something far worse. They had broken the will of the galaxy. Still, not everyone surrendered. In the halls of the Grand Alliance, leaders shouted, desperate to keep control. "We must not bow to them," one cried. "They are too strong," another wailed. "Strength is nothing if we unite," the Drivak Emperor roared, his claws slamming into the table. But even as he spoke, his own generals stared at him with hollow eyes. They remembered the black ships. They remembered the voice in their minds. They remembered how helpless they had been. Far away, Admiral Shurak continued his hunt for answers. His ships roamed into dark places no empire dared go. Old maps, long forgotten, were pulled from ancient archives. He searched for clues of where the humans had gone when they vanished centuries ago. He believed if he could learn where they had been, he could learn how to destroy them. And in his search, he found something. It was not a ship, nor a weapon, but ruins. A dead world, its surface cracked and burned, but deep underground, something still lived. A machine, old and silent, but not alien. Human. Shurak's scientists worked day and night to open it. At last, they did. And when it powered on, the whole chamber shook with its voice. "You are not human," it said. Shurak stepped forward, his scales pale but his eyes sharp. "No. But I seek to know them. To fight them." The machine was silent for a moment. Then it answered, "You cannot fight them. You can only fall." Shurak snarled. "Every being has weakness. Tell me theirs." The machine's lights dimmed, then flared. Weakness. Humanity's only weakness is their own restraint. If they choose to unleash themselves fully, nothing survives. Shurak froze. The words struck like knives. But then his hatred twisted them. If humans restrained themselves, perhaps they feared their own power. Perhaps they held back. Perhaps they could be pushed to break. He smiled, cold and sharp. Back in the dark sectors, the humans prepared. The black ships grew in number. Cities buried in stone blazed with new life. Children trained, soldiers drilled, commanders plotted. Commander Kale stood in a war hall, maps of the galaxy shining before him. His officers waited in silence as he pointed to each empire. "They will gather soon," Kale said. "Their fear will drive them together. They will throw everything they have at us. They believe we can be crushed before we rise fully. They are wrong." He paused, his eyes hard as steel. "We do not strike them first. We let them come. And then, we end it." The officers bowed their heads. Humanity had no need for long speeches. Every one of them already understood. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the alliance grew. The Drivak, the Trell, the Core, even the mighty Valar Dominion, all who had once been enemies now stood together, united by fear of the humans. Fleets larger than any in history gathered, filling the void with light and firepower. On one capital world, the leaders made a final declaration. Humanity must be destroyed. Their ships, their worlds, their very name. This is war to the end. And so it began. The Great Alliance fleet surged into human space. Hundreds of thousands of ships, each armed with the galaxy's deadliest weapons. They moved with pride, with desperation, with fear. They believed numbers could drown the humans. At first, they found nothing. Empty space. Silent worlds. Shadows. Then, one by one, black ships appeared. Not in hundreds. Not in thousands. Just a few. 10 here. 20 there. Silent and waiting. The aliens opened fire at once. The sky burned, missiles streaked, plasma roared. But once again, the human ships moved like shadows, untouched. Weapons failed, ships vanished, minds broke under the human voice. Still, the alliance pressed on. More fleets arrived. More worlds searched. At last, they found one. A hidden human world. Covered in black stone, ringed by strange towers, filled with cities that glowed like fire. Cheers rose in the alien fleets. They had found the nest. They would burn it to ash. Admiral Shurak stood at the front of his flagship, eyes blazing. "Fire everything," he ordered. "Erase them." The sky turned white as the Alliance unleashed destruction beyond measure. Entire mountains shattered, oceans boiled, the planet cracked. For a moment, It seemed victory was theirs. But then, the fire cleared. And the world still stood. The black stone glowed brighter, the towers hummed, and from the cracks of the planet itself, more ships rose. Not 10. Not 20. Thousands. Tens of thousands. The galaxy's fleets froze in horror as the human armada took the sky. Each ship bigger, darker, stronger than the ones before. The air itself seemed to shake under their presence. And then the voice came again. Not to one ship, not to one fleet, but to every mind in the galaxy. You were warned. The alien fleets tried to flee. Some fired wildly. Some begged for mercy. But the black ships moved like predators through prey. Whole fleets vanished in seconds. Weapons turned against their own masters. Engines tore themselves apart. Ships burned without fire, collapsed without explosions. Admiral Shurak screamed orders, but his voice was drowned in chaos. His flagship shook, systems failing, his crew crying out in despair. On the human world below, Commander Kale watched in silence. His officers reported victory after victory, fleets destroyed, empires broken. Kale raised his hand, and the room fell silent. This is not victory, he said. His voice was steady, but heavy. This is warning. The galaxy must learn, once and for all, never to provoke humanity again. His officers bowed. They knew what came next. Above, the black ships spread across the stars, not to conquer, not to rule, but to burn a message into the memory of every living being. Humanity had returned. Humanity had been patient. Humanity had given warning. Now, humanity would teach. And the galaxy would never forget. The galaxy burned with fear. The Great Alliance, once the strongest force in known space, was shattered. Thousands of ships lost, worlds left defenseless, soldiers broken before they could even fire. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy, but they had shown it the truth. No empire, no fleet, no alliance could match them. Yet the humans did not spread their banners. They did not demand planets. They did not announce themselves as rulers. Their black ships drifted silently, watching, waiting, reminding the galaxy that they were there. This silence was worse than any war. Every empire asked the same question: what do the humans want? On the ruined Drivak flagship, Admiral Shurak survived. His ship burned, half his crew dead, but he clung to life with stubborn rage. His hatred for the humans was stronger than his fear. They can be beaten, he whispered to himself as his medics worked. Everything can be beaten. His hatred became his strength. Where others saw hopelessness, Shurak saw only obsession. He swore he would find the truth behind the humans. He would find their limit, their weakness, even if it killed him. Far away, on the black human world, Commander Kale stood in silence with his officers. The war room was quiet, the galaxy's map glowing before them. Entire sectors were marked with broken fleets and destroyed armies. Kale's voice was calm. They thought they could drown us in numbers. They thought we were gone. They thought warnings were empty. Now they know. One of his officers spoke. Shall we finish them? Strike their capitals. Burn their worlds. The galaxy was no longer the same. Every empire lived in the shadow of humanity. Black ships haunted the void, silent and untouchable. Some worlds prayed to them. Some cursed them. Most simply lived in fear. The humans had not declared war, but their silence was heavier than any battle. In the Drivak capital, Emperor Zalvek's throne room was filled with anger. His advisors begged him to surrender, to bend before humanity's shadow. But Zalvek slammed his claws against the stone floor. No. We are the Drivak Empire. We do not kneel. If humanity will not leave us in peace, then we will destroy them. His generals lowered their heads. They remembered broken fleets, burning skies, the voice that had crushed their minds. Still, orders were orders. And Zalvek was not alone. Across the galaxy, rulers shared his madness. They could not live in fear forever. They gathered in secret. The Trell Dominion, the Vela, the Core, even broken fragments of smaller empires, all of them sent ships, weapons, scientists. The room grew heavy. Everyone waited for Kale's answer. He shook his head. No. Destruction teaches nothing. If we burn their homes, they will only fear us. But fear fades with time. They must learn respect. They must learn never to provoke us again. The officers nodded. Humanity did not fight for conquest. They fought for memory, for survival. But across the galaxy, leaders plotted still. In the grand halls of the Trell Dominion, Emperor Yarok slammed his fists. We cannot live like this, under their shadow. We must rebuild. We must find new weapons, new power. His advisors bowed nervously. But, sire, their ships cannot be harmed. Their weapons cannot be matched. Then we will not match them, Yarok hissed. We will go beyond. We will find what they fear. His words spread to other rulers, desperate for hope. Secret projects began, hidden laboratories deep inside mountains, weapons forged from stolen science and forbidden energy. The galaxy, broken and terrified, now turned to madness. Meanwhile, the common people whispered differently. In marketplaces, in ports, in homes, they spoke of the humans not as monsters, but as judges. They had not burned cities. They had not killed billions. They had given warnings, again and again. Some began to wonder, were the humans not enemies, but guardians? This thought spread quietly, like seeds in soil. Some empires ignored it. Others feared it. But for many, it brought strange comfort. On one quiet moon, a small ship arrived. It was not Drivak, not Trell, not Kor. It carried refugees, aliens who had fled their broken fleets. They landed in silence, afraid, but when they looked to the sky, they saw a shadow. A black human ship hovered above them. Its presence was vast, cold, unstoppable. The refugees dropped to their knees, waiting for death. But death did not come. Instead, the voice filled their minds. You are not our enemy. Remember this. Humanity fights only when provoked. Then the ship vanished into the stars. The refugees wept. For the first time, they felt not fear, but relief. Across the galaxy, stories like this began to spread. Human ships appearing above lost worlds, speaking simple words, then vanishing again. They did not conquer. They did not kill. They only reminded. But still, Admiral Shurak searched. His ship limped through broken space, following old trails, chasing myths. His scientists worked endlessly, tearing through ruins, stealing from hidden archives. And then, one day, they found something. It was not a weapon. It was a recording. Buried in the ruins of a forgotten world, deep inside a vault untouched for centuries. The image flickered to life, grainy, old, but clear enough. A human stood in the recording. His armor was black, his eyes hard, his voice calm. To those who find this, the human said, know this truth. We are humanity. We are patient, we are quiet, but we do not forgive when provoked. We left the galaxy once, not because we were weak, but because we grew tired of endless war. We chose silence. But if the galaxy forgets, if it dares to strike us again, we will return. And when we return, the stars themselves will tremble. The recording ended. Shurak stared at it, trembling. His hatred burned hotter. He did not see it as a warning. He saw it as arrogance, as a challenge. They think themselves eternal, Shurak growled. But everything ends. Even them. He turned to his crew. Send this to the Alliance. Let them see. Let them know what we face. And let them prepare. We will find the end of humanity. Back in the black human cities, Commander Kale looked to the stars. Reports poured in, alliances rebuilding, leaders plotting, whispers spreading. Kale's eyes narrowed. They still do not understand. They still prepare for war. His second-in-command asked quietly, shall we strike first this time? Kale's voice was iron. Not yet. They must make their choice. They must step into the fire themselves. Only then will they understand why the warning came. And so, the galaxy stood on the edge. Humanity did not move to conquer, but their shadow stretched across every world. The empires rebuilt in secret, their hatred twisted by fear. Refugees whispered prayers to human shadows. Commanders swore they would find a way to break them. All the while, humanity waited. Silent. Watching. Preparing. And in the silence, one truth echoed louder with every passing day. The galaxy's warning had come too late. They would build one last weapon. One final chance to end humanity. Deep inside a dead star's husk, they carved out a secret foundry. There, they forged something unlike any ship before. A titan of war, a fortress that filled the void. Its armor was layered with forbidden metals, its core powered by stolen suns, its weapons designed to tear planets apart. They called it the Spear of Eternity. Admiral Shurak stood before it, his body scarred, his eyes hollow, but his hatred alive. With this, we will pierce them. With this, we will prove they can bleed. The Alliance cheered. Hope returned to broken hearts. Perhaps, finally, the humans would fall. But hope was fragile. Because as the spear neared completion, black ships appeared at the edge of the star. Not attacking. Not firing. Just waiting. The workers froze. Soldiers trembled. The humans knew. Shurak snarled. Ignore them. They want to frighten us. They cannot stop what is already built. And for a time, he was right. The humans did nothing. The Spear of Eternity grew larger, stronger, deadlier. Until the day it awakened. The void shook as the Titan roared to life. Its engines burned with stolen suns, its weapons glowed like death itself. It rose from the star's husk, casting a shadow across the fleets that followed it. Shurak stood on its bridge, his voice filled with triumph. Let the humans see. Let them know their end is here. The fleets cheered. The galaxy held its breath. And then, the humans came. Not 10 ships. Not 20. Thousands. A tide of black vessels, stretching across the stars, silent and endless. The Alliance fleets trembled, but Shurak raised his hand. Do not fear. They are many, yes. But they are not gods. Today, we prove it. The Spear of Eternity fired. Light like a newborn star erupted from its core, slamming into the first line of human ships. For the first time in centuries, human vessels cracked. Black hulls glowed red. Some shattered. The Alliance roared with hope. They can bleed. They can fall. But then, the humans answered. The Black Fleet moved as one, their silence broken by a single voice. We warned you. Now you will learn. The battle began. The spear fired again and again, each shot tearing through human ships. But the black vessels swarmed like shadows, vanishing and reappearing, striking in ways no scanner could track. Alien fleets were torn apart in moments, but the spear endured. Its armor held. Its power burned. Admiral Shurak stood tall, his voice shaking with both fear and fury. Yes. Fight us. You are not untouchable. On the human flagship, Commander Kale watched the battle unfold. His officers reported losses, rare but real. For the first time, humanity faced an enemy that could wound them. Kale's face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. They have built something dangerous. But they still do not understand. They believe weapons will decide this war. They are wrong. He raised his hand. Release it. The human fleet shifted. From their formation, a single ship emerged, larger than the rest, its hull darker than space itself. No weapons shone from its sides. No engines glowed. It moved without sound, without light, without anything the galaxy understood. Shurak's sensors screamed. His crew shouted in panic. Unknown vessel detected. Power readings beyond scale. The spear fired at once. The starbright beam struck the black ship. For a heartbeat, the void burned white. And when the light cleared, the human vessel was still there. Unharmed. Unmoving. The voice filled every mind. This is the Ark. You should have listened. Then the Ark spoke again, not with words, but with silence. The void itself seemed to bend. The Spear of Eternity shook. Its weapons failed. Its power dimmed. Shurak screamed. No. Fire everything. But nothing answered. The spear's great cannons fell silent. Its stolen suns flickered. Its engines stuttered. And then, with a single pulse of light, the Ark tore it apart. The Spear of Eternity, the galaxy's last hope, shattered into dust. The Alliance fleets broke instantly. Some fled. Some surrendered. Some simply froze, waiting for the end. The human ships did not chase. They did not slaughter. They only hovered, silent, watching, as the Ark drifted forward. In the silence, the voice came once more. This was your choice. You were warned. Let this be the last time. Across the galaxy, the words echoed like thunder. Empires wept. Soldiers laid down arms. Leaders trembled. Admiral Shurak, broken and bleeding on his dying ship, laughed bitterly. So this is it. Humanity cannot be destroyed. They are not conquerors, they are executioners. His laughter turned to silence as fire consumed his bridge. Back on the human world, Commander Kale received the final reports. The spear was gone. The Alliance shattered. The galaxy broken. His officers waited for his command. Kale's voice was steady. We have given them their lesson. Now, we return to the shadows. They must live with memory. That will be our weapon. The black ships began to vanish into the void, one by one. The Ark drifted last, silent, eternal, before it too disappeared. And so, the galaxy was left in silence. No more battles. No more fleets. Only the memory of what they had faced. Humanity had spoken. Humanity had taught. And the galaxy would never forget. The galaxy was broken. The Spear of Eternity, the greatest weapon ever built, was gone. Shattered like glass before the silent Ark. The Alliance fleets were scattered, their leaders dead or fleeing. The black ships of humanity did not chase. They only lingered like shadows, watching. Then, one by one, they vanished back into the void. For weeks, the galaxy held its breath. Planets stayed quiet. Armies stayed grounded. Even pirates hid in fear. Everyone waited for the humans to strike, to claim their victory, to enslave or destroy what remained. But the humans did not come. Instead, silence ruled. In the Drivak capital, Emperor Zalvek sat alone in his broken throne room. His advisors were gone, his empire fractured. He whispered to himself, claws trembling. Why do they not finish us? What do they want? No one answered. On the Vela homeworld, the council gathered in fear. Perhaps they are only waiting, one said. Perhaps they will return when we least expect it. Another shook her head. No, perhaps they want us to destroy ourselves. Whispers like these spread through every empire. Fear grew heavier than war. And still, humanity was silent. Until one night, the silence broke. Not with an attack. Not with fleets. With a signal. Across the stars, every world, every ship, every station received the same message. A voice, calm, steady, human. It spoke in every tongue, understood by every ear. We warned you. You did not listen. You built weapons, you united your hatred, you forced our hand. We do not seek your destruction. We seek your memory. Remember this, there will be no next time. If you raise your weapons against us again, the galaxy will end. You have one chance. Choose wisely. And then, silence returned. The galaxy trembled. Some leaders wept with relief. Others cursed the sky. Many refused to believe. But all of them remembered the Ark, the spear's fall, the Black Fleet's endless shadow. The warning was enough. For the first time in history, the empires of the galaxy did not prepare for war. They disarmed. They dismantled weapons. They turned their fleets to ash. Not out of peace, but out of fear. Generations passed. The story of humanity became legend. Children were told of the black ships. Songs were whispered of the Ark temples rose where fleets once stood, built to honor, or fear, the humans who had spared them. But not all hearts accepted. In a hidden place, far from the core worlds, survivors of the old alliance gathered. Broken soldiers, bitter rulers, vengeful scientists. They whispered of rebellion. They cannot watch forever, one said. They are strong, but they are not gods, another agreed. We will rise again, a third promised. They plotted, they built, they dreamed of revenge. And then, one night, the sky darkened. From the void, A single black ship appeared above their secret world. Silent. Waiting. Panic spread. Soldiers raised weapons, scientists screamed, leaders shouted. The voice came again. We warned you once. There will not be a second time. And then, the black ship vanished, leaving no trace but fear. The rebels fell silent. Their dreams of revenge died. They knew. Humanity watched always. On Earth, far away, humanity lived in its own way. Children played under blue skies. Cities thrived. The fleets rested in hidden docks. The Ark slept in its cradle. Commander Kale walked the halls of the command citadel. His officers greeted him with respect, but his eyes carried no triumph. Only weight. One young officer asked him quietly, "Sir, why do we not end them? Why let them live when they would kill us if they could?" Kale paused. His gaze turned toward the stars. Because ending them is easy. Too easy. But fear, memory, that lasts forever. We do not rule them. We remind them. That is our victory. The officer lowered his head. He understood. Kale stepped onto the balcony, watching the night sky. Somewhere out there, thousands of empires trembled at the thought of humanity. Somewhere out there, silence itself carried the weight of his people. He spoke softly, words only the stars heard. Let them fear. Let them remember. That is enough. The black ships would never stop watching. The Ark would never stop waiting. Humanity would never again be provoked. And so, the galaxy lived, not in peace, not in freedom, but in the shadow of a warning. A warning that came too late. Never provoke humanity. Because once provoked, there was no return.